From WKYT Sports, this is Roy Kidd, A Matter of Pride, an in-depth look at the life and legacy of a bluegrass icon.
A living legend, an icon. We stand on the shoulder of giants, and he is one of those giants here at Eastern Kentucky University.
There was just something special about the guy. There really was, and the records just underscores how special he was, but it goes well beyond the record.
I can't say enough about, his presence in my life.
You know a lot about Coach Roy Kidd, the coach, but the person was even better, and that's what I hope gets told in the whole story.
We've got a lot of pride in our football here, and we've got a lot of tradition, and everybody says that tradition carries you a long ways, and so does pride.
I'm Brian Milam, and welcome to the historic and fabled Roy Kidd Stadium on the campus of Eastern Kentucky University. This facility bears the name of the one man who constructed a football dynasty in Richmond, immaculately clad in maroon and white. From 1964 to 2002, Roy Kidd made EKU a household name across the Commonwealth and the nation. What was established here in Richmond was and still is a matter of pride for anyone who played for him, coached with him, or used his unique insight as a mentor. Over the next hour, we will dive into the player, the coach, and the legacy Roy Kidd left for generations to come. But to begin this story, we must first start 62 miles away in Corbin.
Roy Kidd was a standout multi-sport star for the Corbin Redhounds in football, basketball, and baseball. On the basketball court, Kidd played alongside Frank Selvey and Jerry Bird.
You heard about how good of a baseball player he was, how good of a basketball player. He and my dad played high school basketball together, and my dad made a mistake, and it was kind of a costly mistake. And Coach Kidd throws one up from half court and goes in, they win a game. My dad runs over, and Coach Kidd always says, "Save your tail, didn't I?"
As a gridiron warrior, Kidd was an all-Cumberland Valley Conference performer. Like most born and bred Kentuckians, you grew up wanting to be a Kentucky Wildcat. The head coach of the football Wildcats in that era, Bear Bryant.
Coach Bryant knows a lot about Roy Kidd because he tried to actually recruit him.
The story was that he was recruited by Bear Bryant and he wanted to play baseball, and Bear wasn't going to let him play.
But Coach wanted to play baseball, and like Coach Bryant told me, he said, our quarterbacks in the spring are not be playing baseball.
He chose Eastern, and of course Turkey Hughes said, "Come on," and played 4 years there, All-American quarterback.
And while a Maroon, compiled a record of 18-9-1 as a player, and in his senior season, Kidd accumulated more than 1,000 yards of total offense, passing for 11 touchdowns. In a twist of irony, Kidd was a skilled passer for his time because in the years to come, Kidd's teams would be known for a punishing ground game. With his playing career over, Kidd would become a coach, staying in Richmond to guide the Madison model team. On that squad, Wayne Boland.
The slogan, Matter of Pride, they can tell that this guy was different. We'd go to practice every day, and we'd have clean socks, clean towel, and a little card laying in there what we were going to do out on football field. We weren't used to that, but he was really a matter of pride.
Kidd would coach Madison Model and then Richmond Madison from 1956 to 1961, compiling a record of 54-11-1, and at one time had a 27-game winning streak, also claiming 3 Central Kentucky Conference titles.
And then he had a piece of purple carpet after our school cover at the top of the steps as we come out of our locker room. And when you come across that piece of carpet, your butt was his for 2 hours.
Fast forward to July 23rd, 1989. Members of those high school teams of the 1950s and early 60s met in Richmond for a reunion. The players relived their youth, watching the 1957 Rec Bowl, a 19-6 win over Frankfort, and the respect for their beloved coach was still there.
90% of us still call him coach rather than Roy or AU. It's still coach to us. So He's just a very unique human being that happens to be in the coaching field and is a winner.
I tell you, I played golf with him today, had a ball. Tonight's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing all of them, you know. And the thing about it is, I don't think there's only been but one I haven't really recognized. And they're just a super bunch of kids and did a great job. And they're the ones that got me to Eastern.
When we come back, Roy Kidd steps from the position of assistant coach to head coach of the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. This is next on Roy Kidd, A Matter of Pride.
And I got the opportunity last Friday to go see him and hold his hand, and he said my name, and I got to tell him one last time I loved him, because he was more than just a coach to me. Like I told somebody, he was my coach, he was my mentor, but mainly he was my friend, and I'm going to miss him.
I am standing in the heart of the EKU campus with the Keene Johnson building behind me and the Student Center to my right. It was in this area from 1936 to 1968. Old Hangar Stadium stood. It's where the Colonels played. It's where Coach Kidd played and would first start to coach. Little did anyone know at the time, he was setting the foundation for a dynasty.
It's hard to explain really what he was like. He just had the it factor. I mean, he knew how to win. He knew how to develop players. He knew all that, how to do that. And there's probably a lot of other coaches out there that know a lot about X's and O's, but they don't know how to win.
After leaving Madison High following a 1961 state runner-up finish, Coach Kidd became an assistant at Morehead State in 1962, gave considerable thought of becoming Lafayette High School's football coach in 1963, but returned to his alma mater April 10, 1963 as a 31-year-old to be on the staff with Glenn Presnell. 4 days before the conclusion of that 63 season, Presnell announced it would be his final game as head coach, and Roy Kidd was named his successor. When asked by then EKU president Dr. Robert Martin if he would have to turn Kidd's arm to be the new Maroon in charge, Kidd answered quick-wittedly, "Not very far." Teddy Taylor was an All-American from Harrison County who would later join Kidd's staff. He remembers one moment in particular in the mid-1960s.
Coach Kidd told us back then that we were going to start a foundation for something that was going to be bigger than all of us, and this turned out to be true.
Well, I think it got our tradition started. You know, they're the ones started Cabin on the Hill, and they're the ones that started winning. They're the foundation of of our program right now. You know, they're the ones that put the pride in it, and like the present day players that just continue to carry it on.
In 1967, EKU would win the first of 16 OVC crowns under Coach Kidd. But not only that, the Maroons would also win the Grantland Rice Bowl. This home video, shot by the mother of linebacker Jim Moberly, shows the pride Coach Kidd had winning his first major championship.
They were winners, I'd say that about them. They could win the close football game, and they're the ones that always gave us the confidence that, you know, you're going to win.
The winning extended into the 70s with OVC trophies in 1974 and 76, which eventually led to 1979 and the start of the greatest run in school history.
Well, I always expected it good. I feel like every year we should be a contender for the championship.
On November 10, 1979, fifth-ranked EKU had a 7-2 mark, meeting number 2 Jackson State for the first and, to date, only time ever playing the Tigers. Eastern had to win for any hope of a berth in the second year of the newly formed 1AA playoff.
For us to get in, I think Gramblin's got to beat. I mean, personally, I hope that Western wins and they get in it, and I hope Grambling loses and we get in it.
In a hallmark moment for EKU, the Colonels beat Jackson State. And when Southern stunned top-ranked Grambling in the Bayou Classic December 1st, EKU moved into the 14 playoff as the only at-large participant. Eastern would meet number 1 ranked Nevada Reno. And perhaps there was some foreshadowing from Coach Kidd when he bragged on kicker David Flores.
I think he's one of the finest kickers we've ever had, and one of the finest that's ever been in our league. I just got so much confidence in the young man. I feel like when he kicks an extra point, it's just automatic, and his field goals are just about the same way.
Flores kicked the Colonels past the Wolfpack 33-30 in the NCAA's first overtime game in history.
You know, that's when the matter of pride started, and you started getting a little bit more. Everybody was on campus was excited about football.
The championship affair looked like a formality, with EKU blistering Lehigh 30-7 to win the NCAA championship. '80 and 1981 would see the Colonels again go to the championship games, but lose in the finals, setting up the greatest season in EKU football history, 1982.
When I went in to go see Coach Kidd, he showed me the rings, the championship rings, and I was hooked. I was really hooked. But to me, EKU was family. It was all about, keeping up the legacy with my family. But Coach Kidd, without a doubt, embodied what EKU was all about. And that was just about the pride, the tradition, the character, and all those things that you want to become, as a man.
Heading into the 1982 season, the Colonels were picked to win the OVC, second in the 1AA preseason poll, but the focus was on the OVC championship.
I think our conference is going to be very balanced. I'd be very surprised if the champion of our conference goes undefeated this year.
The entire season was magical. 3 weeks into the campaign, Eastern was the new #1, and the national spotlight literally came to Richmond.
It was electric around here. If you remember, at that time, the NFL went on strike for a while, and America was looking for somebody. And here comes Ted Turner putting lights up and putting us on TV. And everywhere we went for years, people knew who we were because of that.
We were on national TV, I think, 5 times when I was a senior. So, and they brought lights in for the Murray State game. We played on WTBS on Thursday night, and they had to bring Lusco lighting, or somebody had to bring lights in. Temporary lights, and that game was on TV, and that was probably one of the most exciting games that's ever been up here.
Well, we played 3 games on the lights. It's going to be unusual here at home, and hopefully that being on national TV, and it's my understanding it goes into about 22 million homes, so, maybe that'll liven our kids up and help them get mentally ready.
Murray had a 2014 lead with less than 5 minutes to play. Tuck Woolham and Steve Bird went to work. A 20-yard pass got the Colonels on the doorstep of the red zone. Then Coach Kidd went into his bag of tricks.
Coach made that play up on the sideline that won the game against Murray State. We did not have that play in our offense. Coach made that up. Tuck came to the huddle and told us just what to do. And when you watch the play, everybody on that team right there, you thought they'd been doing it over and over again. But that was just the things that happened to our program.
We just had to suck it up and go, we're not #1 for nothing. You come back like that, you're just showing everybody what you can do. And I tell you, this team, it's the greatest team I've ever been on.
You look back on those days and you think to yourself how special it was, but we always have those. Nobody will ever take that away from you. You can lose a ring, you can lose a medallion, anything. You still have those memories of that, how great that was.
The Colonels would roll through the rest of the regular season.
We haven't reached our peak, but we've won 10 games, and our kids have made the plays when they've had to make it.
Setting up a playoff matchup with Idaho. EKU jumped ahead 21-7, but then had to get an Anthony Jones interception to secure a semifinal matchup with Tennessee State and their coach, Big John Merritt, a Pendleton County native, a Kentucky State and UK grad who knew his Kentucky history, and he hoped he had a plan to beat Eastern.
There's so many keys, and I don't know if our key will fit the lock. You've got to stop their running game with the middle. They've got to find big blocking fullback. They got two tailbacks that are as good as any in the country. They've got and you got to find some way to cage the bird. That I don't know how you're going to do. I don't, but he might be the best white wide receiver since John Arnett, and that's saying a whole lot. I just wish the University of Kentucky had gotten him like they did all the rest of that damn family.
There was also a trip to the finals on the line, as well as a home winning streak.
It's a real good feeling to know you hadn't lost a game at home in front of your hometown fans, and I feel we can go out on Saturday and make it 31.
You don't want to lose another game while you're here, right?
No, I think that's a big achievement, you know, to go through 4 years of football and never lose a home game, and I surely don't want to lose it on Saturday.
With the Colonels and Tigers tied at 7, it was a Nicky Yeast 1-yard TD run which proved to be the difference. That and 3 interceptions from the Colonels' defense.
Fighting, long pass over the middle, and it is intercepted by Mike Mims. He intercepts it at the 32.
It's just unreal, you know. Sometimes I gotta, you know, double check myself to make sure we're going back for the 4th time. It just seems unreal to think we're going back, and the way our kids have performed and the way they've done, I'm just as proud of them as any team I've ever coached, because this is really unexpected.
Eastern Kentucky is on its way to Wichita Falls, Texas again.
The 1982 National Championship game was seen on WKYT and CBS.
And here they come onto the field for the National Championship, the Eastern Kentucky Colonels.
With Eastern and Delaware.
Roy Kidd is their coach. He's been there 19 years. He's won 145 games, and there he is from Corbin, Kentucky.
Before leaving for Wichita Falls, Texas, linebacker Alex Dominguez made a prediction.
I think we're going to have to win on defense. I think so, and give the ball back to our offense and let them just open up and stick it in the end zone.
Any predictions?
Yeah, we're going to win it, definitely.
The game was scoreless into the second quarter until Gus Parks blocked a 31-yard field goal, and the ball landed in the hands of Richard Bell.
Richard Bell is on his way. Richard Bell is in for a touchdown on a blocked field goal.
A Jamie Lovett 38-yard field goal gave Eastern a 10-0 lead heading into the locker room, and it did not take long for the advantage to swell thanks to Pete Jackson forcing a fumble on the second half kickoff. And it was Nicky Yeast pounding it in one more time for a 17-0 lead. With just 9:43 left in the game, the Colonels nearly gave away the championship. Costly mistakes led to the Blue Hens scratching 14 points in 4 minutes.
Touchdown, taken by Sager.
However, Jack Eison's defense dug in down the stretch, and the Colonels were undefeated and national champion.
I tell you, there was a lot of pressure on our team this year to think that we're fighting to stay undefeated, we're fighting to keep our home game winning streak, and to think we can go undefeated in the season's unreal, and then to come on and play 3 straight games like we did. I think these kids know how to win, they're used to winning, you know, and that rubs off. You know, if you get used to losing, you're going to find a way to lose. If you got some tradition and you win, you're going to find a way to win, and that's the way these kids did all year.
How surprised are you, Greg, that through the years there weren't more efforts to lure him away from EKU, at least that we knew of?
Mistakes by college after college after college. Thank goodness they didn't. But you know, we've lost loyalty because of the portal and because of coaches' contracts and just the way the world is. The pressure on coaches to win is different. But to me, I'm just glad it didn't happen. But for him, I wish he could have had another chance somewhere else in a way, because he would have proved those that didn't want to hire him all wrong.
Roy Kidd loved EKU, but several times during the 1980s, he was approached, flirted with, or rumored to be a candidate for other coaching jobs inside the Commonwealth and beyond. Why he never left was his choice. There was a loyalty to Coach Kidd, which is rarely seen these days. At least publicly, the first such opportunity to exit Madison County was during the Colonels' 1982 championship season.
I know that people are interested in you up in Army, but it would seem that after a win like this, it'd take all the gold in Fort Knox to get you away from here.
Well, it'd be awful tough. You know, this is a place I love. You know, this is my school, and I love it. And to think about even leaving would really scare me. Well, you know, I'm always interested. I listen to anybody about something, you know, but I'm very happy here, let me say that. I love Eastern and Richmond, and just for any kind of a job, I wouldn't leave, no.
But actually, you know, he did leave once for a couple of days while I was here. Ball State or Indiana State actually hired him and he was left us for a day, I believe it was, or 2 days, and then came back.
I think he was maybe leveraging that.
Why not?
Why not? But he was comfortable here.
Yeah.
He had friends here, a fan base that followed the team and came to our home games, and so it was a good fit not only for us but for him.
You know, I wasn't sure I wanted a job because I know here at Eastern I can win. I don't know if Louisville can win consistently anytime, years down the road or what. It's going to be very tough for Coach Smellenberger.
Let's clear up your situation. First of all, have you been approached by UK?
No, I have not. I have not been approached, and you just told me that it came across the wire that I said if I was offered a job, I'd take it, and I did not make that statement. That is not true. I have not told anybody or made any comment whatsoever about the University of Kentucky situation.
Do you want to make any comment? Are you interested?
No, I really don't. You know, I mean, if they contact me, want to talk to me, sure, I'll talk. You know, to them or Florida or anybody for that matter. You know, I'm going to listen to what anybody's got to say. No, I'm not a candidate. I'm right here till I retire at Eastern, and I have no desire to go to Louisville, and haven't heard a word from him. Don't expect to, really. To be very honest, the only job that other than Eastern that I ever wanted was UK. I wanted a chance to, you know, I'm a Kentuckian, and I knew about UK from the time I was a little boy, you know, and I would have liked to have the opportunity to coach in the Southeastern Conference, and being a native Kentuckian, I'd have liked to coach at Kentucky.
Even still, he has no regrets.
I love Eastern. This is my school, my university, and I love the kids that I've coached and worked with.
Eastern Kentucky Colonels football. Out of respect, that name immediately places a target on a maroon jersey. In decades gone by, EKU had fierce rivalries with Murray State, Middle Tennessee State, and Morehead State. But perhaps no one school brought out the competitive fire in Coach Kidd, quite like the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky.
My first goal, of course, is to win a conference, but I tell you, beating Western's right up there with it.
I tell you what, he's real intense this week. This is the most intense I've seen Coach Kidd since I've been here. I think he's ready to suit up himself.
Like Coach Kidd said the other night, out of our whole schedule, if he had to pick one of them to beat, it'd be Western.
And guys, I'm telling you right now, I want this game.
I guess my biggest memories were Western week. It was like he changed and a different human being.
Knock him off the line! Ringo!
It's Western Kentucky week in Richmond, and the intensity at Eastern Kentucky practices has been cranked up a notch.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to motivate me, this Western. It's easy for me to get ready to play them. I just hope I can get our football team to ready. This week I've been telling the kids a little bit of history about the game. You know, that's one of the things. I went all the way back from the time I played. And
that far?
That far. And that's further than I realized.
I finally said, Coach Kidd, what's the deal? Why do you change? And he said, well, I'll tell you this. He said, when I was a freshman down here, I was a quarterback, starting quarterback over at Western, and I just got killed. They just beat me up to death, he said, and I've never forgotten that.
The competitiveness with Western that he always had. When Western was dropping football, Coach Kidd went down there and spoke to everybody about why it's important that they keep football. You know, as much as he hated Western, he knew how important it was for the state.
I don't think these kids really realize the history that goes into this type of a football game. You're playing a school down there talking about dropping football, and all they care about is basketball, and then they come in here and beat you. That's what hurts. Plus the fact is Hilltoppers.
20 years from the day you graduate here, you'll remember the Western football game. You'll remember the Western football game.
I think a lot of these freshmen don't know what Western Week is about yet, but they will very quickly.
Yeah, it sure was, to finally be up on them. I've been there 2 years, and this is the first time I beat Western, so it feels great, it really does.
We owe Western something that they're going to get, that they well deserve.
I got something special for them. This is going to be a good week.
We're going to get in our stance and stay, okay? Get on back, block! Get on back, block!
I can't help it. I just get that way whenever Western, you know, Dick, they're going up there and put me one of these days. They probably lay me up there in one of them graves, you know, and I'll be running there when they line up to play Western. I'll be hollering, tell them, beat them, you know. That's the way I feel. It's great. This is what it's all about, to get a chance to play in a game like this. You know, I can't wait for them to get here.
Western's still Western, Eastern's still Eastern. Western's always an important game. We don't like them, they don't like us. It's plain and simple.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot of little extra hitting and a little extra talking going on. But it's going to be a good, hard-knock football game.
It's going to be really tough. I mean, if people want to see a physical game and some hitting, it's going to be there because we're ready.
You know, it's like I tell our players, hey, this is why you come to Eastern. I told our players, by heck, we're going down there this year and find a way to win.
The final tally between Eastern and Western, while Kidd was the head coach of the Maroons, 19, 19, and 2.
I'm smart enough to come up with words to describe the feeling that I have right now. And it's not for me. I want you to know I've been doing this, and I've been to Michigan and Rose Bowls and all that, experienced about all you can experience in football. But tonight was a new one for me.
I think we owe them something from last time we played them, and we feel they come here, then we got to score something.
Go.
We've learned the Colonels and the Hilltoppers will meet again in the 2024 season.
Any predictions? Eastern on top.
You know one person will be watching.
I guarantee I'll be ready. It didn't surprise me, really, because usually we pick the team that won the year before. But I think if you really looked at the kids that we lost, 22 seniors and how good those kids were, that's the thing that surprised me, you know, because we lost some great football players. But we got some good ones coming back. We just like experience, and I'd rather be picked first than last anytime.
As the 1990s rolled around, the first major moment for Coach Kidd was when the EKU administration decided to honor the future Hall of Famer in a way which will never fade. Hanger Field was officially renamed for the legendary man, and apparently WKYT broke the news to him.
News to me, but I hope so. I'd be tickled to death. That'd be a real honor. You know, it'd be an honor not only for me, but all the players that played here, my coaching staff that's been here, and it tickled me to death.
If somebody said they might do it, I was just hoping they wouldn't wait till they put me in the 6 feet under up here. You know, they'd do it before that, and if they were going to do it. And I'm tickled to death. Not only are they doing it before that, but also while I'm still coaching.
We're here tonight to honor one of the country's greatest coaches. We've already got his name in the proper place right up on top of the stadium. He's ready to play football, so we're not going to take much time. I will read this plaque. Presented to Coach Roy Kidd, one of America's most successful coaches, on the occasion of the dedication of Roy Kidd Stadium, Eastern Kentucky University, September 8, 1990. Coach Kidd.
Words will never express how proud I am at this moment, not only of our football program here at Eastern, but being the stadium named after me. I'm very proud of my family, which I love dearly. I want to certainly thank all you fans for making this possible. I want to thank all my assistant coaches that has ever worked here, present and past, and it's an honor to them as well as all the players that's ever played on this field. And I thank you very much.
Kidd's Colonels were ranked number 1 on 6 different occasions for a total of 32 weeks, and from 1978 to 2002, a whopping 244 weeks in the AP Top 10 or Top 20 rankings. The head Maroon was always honest with the media and his team about rankings.
I think so. I'd be surprised for not. It seems like every year they pick us to win it, and but we're used to it. And so if that's the way they want to go, that's fine with us. And I know as a coach, and I know how tough our league is. Well, it's a bad thing, you know. There's a lot of honor and a lot of pride of being number 1, and you're proud of it. But then the bad thing about it is everybody gets ready to play you. Everybody wants to beat number 1, and that's the thing we got to look out for. But then again, you got to look at it from our kids. Let's hope it motivates us to stay there and to play hard and do those things. We went through a string last year of 8 straight weeks of being number 1, and I knew we wasn't the best team in the nation. But we were ranked and had it, and we were proud of it. But it caught up with us at the end of the year when we got some injuries. And even if we had not had those injuries, I don't think we were the best football team in 1AA a year ago. I think we're on the verge of could be this year. To be perfectly honest, I don't think we deserve to be #1, but we'll take it. You know, heck yeah, we'll take it. It's great, and we take a lot of pride in it. But I think it's just going to give something for the other teams to motivate them a little bit more to play us.
Coach Kidd's personal collection of honors and awards is an embarrassment of riches. The OVC Coach of the Year award is now named after the Corbin native. The two-time National Coach of the Year always showed great humility when he was praised, deflecting that respect and admiration to everyone involved.
I appreciate honors like that, but that honor goes to my staff. You sometimes sit around and say, well, the head coach gets Coach of the Year, but it ought to be the whole staff. And I honestly feel that way. I'm just one of the spokes.
On September 9th, 2001, Roy Kidd stood on the doorstep of the fabled 300 Win Club. Liberty was no match to the flame lit by the Colonels that night. Eastern won convincingly 30-7, which coincidentally was the score of Kidd's first national championship victory. Amidst the chaos of the celebration, Kidd was asked about joining the elite 300 win fraternity, but the praise, once again, was given elsewhere.
Now your name's up there with Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno. You're proud of that?
Yeah, I'm proud of that. Sure, I'm proud of it. But you know what I care about? I care about my players. I'm not interested in what Bobby Bowden did or Barrett Bryant. They're great coaches. It's my kids, my players. That's what I believe in.
A little more than a year later, Coach Kidd said 2002 would be his last season. Dick Gabriel picks up the story after Kidd's final home game.
He accepted the applause with a twinge of embarrassment and no small amount of sadness. And not just because Saturday was his last home game. The loss means this Saturday's game will mark the end of the Roy Kidd era as he takes his place among the all-time coaching greats. Bear Bryant, Pop Warner, Amos Alonzo Stagg.
It's amazing, I guess, the old guy from Corbin's in there.
His greatest moments came in the early days of 1AA football. Eastern won the first 1AA title in 1979, made the finals the next 2 years, and then another championship in 1982, the team that finished 13-0.
I've had better teams than that. I'm talking about players overall. But boy, just something about those kids. They just had that pride about themselves, and they knew how to win, and they worked to win, and they got it done.
There were other great teams, the ones that came up short, making the Final Four. Heartbreaking losses at Northeast Louisiana in 1987, a 7-point loss at eventual champion Marshall in 1991, and a 3-point setback at eventual champion Youngstown in '94. Through it all, Kidd stayed at Eastern 39 years, turning down a number of chances to leave.
I've never looked back and said, boy, I wish I'd have got that job or that, because some of the ones I interviewed for, I don't know if I wanted it. I'll never forget a committee member at Marshall asking me, why do you want this job? And I sit there and thinking, hey, you called me, I didn't call you.
U of L wooed him until Howard Schnellenberger became available. UK was set to sign him when Bill Curry decided he was ready to leave Alabama.
It was always somebody with a bigger name,
So he stayed in Richmond and just kept coaching, winning, and motivating young men.
20 years from the day you graduate here, you'll remember the Western Football League. You'll remember the Western Football League. Go.
I want my players to have pride in the university. I want them to have pride in our team, and I just think that's part of it.
When you have somebody that's genuine and deserves the respect that he gets, it's very, very rare, especially in this day and age.
I love Eastern, I love our fans, and I thank you.
His final home game was supposed to be another victory, another stepping stone to a possible playoff berth. Instead, a disappointing loss to Southeast Missouri.
I'm devastated. I'm sorry for Coach Kidd. Sorry for the rest of the seniors. It's tough.
The setback put a damper on what was supposed to be a post-game celebration for fans, former players, and former coaches.
He means so much to this school, to this community. Basically, we talk about Eastern Kentucky University, you're talking Roy Kidd. He's the one that's made this university.
I've said before, when you don the heading of coach, it means a whole lot more than just what you do on the field. He's made a lot of boys men, and a lot of people are better for it. And this university will definitely miss Coach Kidd.
I mean, he is the program. I mean, he's the one that's really kind of taken this place and put it on the map. And you know, to mention his accomplishments, you know, there's just so many of them, you really can't single them out.
Coach Kidd's pretty much been a bedstone here at EKU, and to see that he's come to the end of the road, so to speak, it's sad, but nonetheless it's celebrated.
You know, personally, I'm very sad for him, especially tonight, for him to go out his last home game like this, but he held his head high because he's the best it's ever been, and I'm excited for him.
The very first year, I think we only won 3 games. I went home, I told Sue, I told her, I said, don't you worry. I said, we will win here at Eastern, I promise you that.
And I said, we're going to win here. I said, we're not going to lose. I said, I'll get the players, you know, I'll get whatever it takes to win, I'll do it, but I'll do it the right way, I'll do it with integrity, and I won't cheat, and I'll do the things the way it's supposed to be done, but I promise I'll win.
How do you feel about it?
I feel great.
Not many legends have passed through this state in the world of sports. Adolph Rupp comes to mind, but when you talk about football, college football in the state of Kentucky, you have to start with Roy Kidd. In Richmond, Dick Gabriel, 27 Sports First.
The phrase, a matter of pride, is synonymous with Coach Kidd and EKU football. The logo used on the helmets, once again, are the pride lines. And it takes you back to a time when the pride was established here, and in the lives of Coach Kidd's former players, that pride carries on.
Matter of pride means, you know, taking the stock of, you know, where you are, where you want to go, where you want to be. And the matter of pride comes into, you know, the hard work and the determination about the character of the man that you want to become. And so Coach Kidd, he instilled all of that. That was important to him. So it wasn't all about the wins and losses, it was about developing young men. And he did a tremendous job of that.
And a matter of pride to me was when you wake up in the morning until you go to bed at night, you have pride in everything you do. And if you do, then you got a chance to be successful in everything you do.
It means really taking care of business and having an appreciation of where you came from and where you need to go. That's what I will always carry, because it kind of created my value as far as work. Work hard and play hard. So that's what I learned from Eastern Kentucky.
As long as I'm the head football coach, we'll never forget Coach Kidd. His importance to me personally, but to this university and this football program, bleeds throughout the 39 years of head coaching, the assistant years he had, the Madison High teams he had, and then obviously the great player he was here at EKU.
And he was a true winner, but he taught his players, his coaches, his managers, his trainers, everybody had to be a winner. I mean, just each and every day he expected the best of you, and his attention to detail was unbelievable. I mean, the little things that you had to get correct before you ever moved on to anything else. I mean, his attention, and I think that's what made him a great coach and us great players, because we were so sound in everything that we did.
He's probably the most recognizable name in the history of this university and always will be, but it goes beyond that. Just the kind of person he was. He and his wife were a great team, and how they treated people. All you have to do is go read, like if you go to a social media site involved with a bunch of players, story after story after story after story about what he meant to them, and kids of all walks of life. I mean, he truly impacted programs. A lot of people say, well, that's what coaches do, and a lot of coaches do, but I think he did it at a level that matches his win total.
Winning football and doing it the right way. And he literally has put our name out nationwide. I mean, we've heard of people in different states say, oh yeah, that's where Roy Kidd coached. And so he is such an important part of our university history.
I think without a doubt what he did, not only here at Eastern Kentucky University and for Richmond, but for the state of Kentucky, and how he fought for us as high school football coaches to help get spring practice back and those kind of things. he just he had a lot of weight in the football community. As a coach, I think the one thing you always remember is how passionate he was about the game of football and how competitive he was. But just the staff that he had around him, that's something that I think about all the time, is his attention to detail. He always said the little things make the big things happen, and that's something that I've carried with me forever, not only in football but in life as well. And surround yourself with good people. He had great coaches around him, a lot of support from the community and from EKU, and just what he was able to do here will probably be unmatched. You just don't see somebody staying 39 years in one place again. So, to me, he'll always be EKU.
Yeah, when you grow up watching somebody as successful as Coach Kidd, you emulate them and want to be a part of it. There was no doubt that I wanted to be a Colonel from the day one. Our house was decorated maroon. I went to the Eastern's National Championship appearances in '81 and '82 as a 9 and 10-year-old kid. I remember walking all the way down there to the field after the game was over and celebrating. So it was a dream come true to play for him. And of course, my dad, looked at Coach Kidd like a real father. So it was almost like playing for my grandpa in a sense. But some of my proudest memories and the greatest times that I've ever had in my life were playing under Roy Kidd at EKU.
I even think most of Kentucky still assumes Eastern Kentucky University and Roy Kidd.
What a great person. He was truly my friend, and I got the opportunity last Friday to go see him and hold his hand, and he said my name, and I got to tell him one last time I loved him.
He's got the best seat in the house. He does. And I hope he meets my dad and my brother.
We saw him as a father, we saw him as a coach, saw him as a mentor, and the things that he did for us, he built that pride in us.
He is the greatest coach in the history of Kentucky. Now, you can make an argument for the brief time that Paul Bear Bryant was here, Lance Collier had a great run, but the longevity, the roots to Kentucky, and what he did at a smaller school with challenges in support, to me, he would have done that at any level, and so I think he is definitely the greatest coach in the history of Kentucky football, and I don't think there will be another one to follow it.
There will never be anyone quite like Roy Kidd, a champion on and off the field, a Colonel for life. For all of us at WKYT, thank you for watching Roy Kidd, A Matter of Pride.